Hello! Oh, fuck, wait, no. Wait, I'm not ready. Did I unmute myself ever? I should've, right? I should've, right? I should've, right? Yeah, okay. I did unmute myself, that's good. You know, I'm slightly prepared. Fuck, I didn't ever press enter. Why is OBS got this big-ass red circle on it? I don't like that. It makes me uncomfy. I don't want to think about the fact that I'm broadcasting myself. Anyways, yeah, I didn't do my announcements. Give me a second. Not as prepared as I thought I was. Although I did at least type out the messages, I just didn't send them. That's pretty typical, you know? That's par for me. That's average. that's to be expected. Okay. So hi. It's, you know, it's been a little bit. Not that long, you know, nothing to get too excited about. I thought a decent bit about one of the questions I asked Moose during the interview, and I guess, you know, I'll talk about the interview a little bit. I mean, I don't know, there's not too much to talk about there. I thought it went well, you know, I was pretty pleased with the results of it. I did think that, like, there were a few questions that I'm going to have to, like, rework, because I don't think they were delivered quite as well as they could have been, so that's on me, that's my bad. But other than, like, you know, a few questions that I don't think were hit exactly the way I wanted to, I think it was pretty nice. I think that Moose got most of what he wanted to get out there, so that's, like, the main thing that I would be upset about if that didn't happen. So thankfully it seems like Moose said everything he wanted to, more or less. You know, my my inadequacies of an interviewer aside, I think that the interview itself ended up being decent, so I'm happy with that. It is, like, definitely the best video that well, I mean, it's done the best out of the past, like, handful of videos on my YouTube, is a better way of phrasing it. Although, the video that came out before the interview is also at least noteworthy on my YouTube channel. For, yeah, so, like, I released the interview, like, 2 days after we recorded it, 1 day after we streamed it, which happened to coincide with, my Cr1TiKaL Ultimate VOD section being uploaded on YouTube, and that also got, like, more attention than most of my videos do on my channel, but I don't know if it's for the right reasons. It is the only video I've released since I came back to streaming that has a negative like to dislike ratio, so, you know, I can't be too upset about it, though. I'm not even really that surprised. I kind of figured it would go like that, especially when I streamed it. You know, I almost never have people, like, randomly come in to talk about the game I'm playing. Like, you know, I guess Hobbit's, like, a little bit of an exception because, well, for one, I've been streaming the Hobbit for a while now, at least. I would say, that was close. I would say, you know, a few months or however long I've been at it is a while in stream time and on the internet timeline. So I don't know. I wouldn't really say I'm a known quantity in the Hobbit community or anything, but it does make sense that after a few months of streaming the same game in a game that does have, you know, at least a little bit of a community, that some people would stop by. But for the most part, when I'm playing, like, a random dumb fuck game that almost nobody has ever heard of, I don't expect there to be many people, like, popping out of the blue and being like, hey, cool to see you playing this game that no one's ever heard of. It happened when I played, there's only one other game I can really think of that it happened for. It happened when I played... What's the name of it? Hyper Rogue. There you go. The hyperbolic geometry roguelike. Roguelike kind of a stretch, because it's out of... I mean, it is a roguelike. It's a very different kind of roguelike, though, for a number of reasons. But anyways, yeah, I never would have expected that game to have, like, sorry, hyper-active community. Sorry, am I cringe? Am I too cringe with my title being what it is and all that? It's okay. I'm allowed to be a little cringe as a treat. Anyways. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that community to be as active as it was, but there were, like, a number of people who showed up for the stream, and, like, that YouTube video as well on my channel is, like, one of the most viewed YouTube videos I have, which, like, you know, I don't really expect many views as, like, a VOD channel, primarily a VOD channel. It's you know, it's just, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how many people who, like, watch my stream. I know there's at least one. I know that, Ludwig, not real. Sorry, I mean, he is a real Ludwig, but not the Ludwig I think most people would think of when I say the name Ludwig, especially streaming. But I know Ludwig watches the YouTube VODs occasionally. But outside of that, like, I don't know. It's just there for me, mostly. Like, I like having some sort of permanence to what I do, which I've talked about before, including on the interview a little bit. But, yeah, it always surprises me. It always surprises me when I, like, upload a random VOD and it has, like, you know, 10 times the amount of views that most of my VODs get. And that happened with Cr1TiKaL Ultimate. But yeah, okay, so the original point I was trying to make is that while I was streaming Cr1TiKaL Ultimate, yeah, like, someone, first-time chatter appeared and wanted to make it known that they're, like, a huge fan of Cr1TiKaL Ultimate, and that, you know, my criticisms weren't really valid is kind of what I got from what they were saying, is that they didn't think that, I mean, I guess it's a little fair, because I, at the time of making my criticism, had only played, like, you know, 30-some-odd minutes of it. I'm so good at this slope boost, dude. It's actually, like, probably the highlight of the run for me. I don't know why I'm so bad at it. Well, I mean, lack of practice, maybe, is the the leading factor. Dude, I hate it, though. I've been told just back up a little bit, so I back up a little bit, and then I get ready for my big pog jump, and it never happens. But, okay, back to talking about Cr1TiKaL Ultimate. I mean, this run is kind of dead. I mean, I could still PB, but, like, I don't really care about the run anymore, so it's kind of dead in my eyes. But yeah, they were clearly not super keen on what I was saying about the game, which was slightly fair. I mean, I don't know. I still stand by the criticisms I made, though, and, like, having played more Cr1TiKaL, I fucking hate it when that happens, dude. I fucking hate it. I hate these bats so much. Like, this is the lowest point in the run for me. The slope boost that I'm absolutely awful at, followed by the start of riddles that I almost always have a fucking death in, because I'm just not good. Just not good at all. I mean, the bats are fucking RNG, though, dude. Like, what the hell? They're so aggressive sometimes. I can only feel so bad. I do feel a little bad, but I can only feel just a smidge, because I know that, you know, there's nothing I could do, dude, as the gamers like to say. I can't believe I took damage there and still lived. I might just die here again for fun, because I'm really bad at this as well. I got it. I got it. Anyways, Cr1TiKaL Ultimate, whatever. I mean, who even fucking cares? Yeah, RuneScape music. Hello, Ham. Nice to see you again. I picked a different RuneScape OST track, because, like, I've got the full RuneScape OST, like, downloaded, because there was, like, a almost complete RuneScape OST download on archive.org. I don't want to defend the legitimacy of that. I don't want to talk about the legality of the situation. I don't know how that jump didn't make it, by the way. That felt like a good angle on that long jump. I was going, like, basically perpendicular against the platform, but whatever. This run was dead anyways. Yeah, I have, like, almost the entire OST for old school RuneScape. The original one. It's got, like, 180-something songs on it. But, I don't think that makes for, like, the best listening experience, so I just fucking got some random YouTube compilation with, like, the classics, the best RuneScape songs that most people would recognize. Because, I mean, I don't know. I hardly recognize, like, half of the songs that get played on the full playlist, so it probably makes more sense to go with the more curated list of songs. But anyways, the point of what I was trying to say about Cr1TiKaL is that I'm not too surprised that that video has like a negative like to dislike ratio because of how much people who like the game seem to like really care about the game. And usually when you get that kind of like community, especially when the game is pretty small and like the average player who enjoys it has the mentality that the game is underappreciated, or that, you know, they wish it was more successful than it was, whatever the case is, you typically don't get a lot of people who are super accepting of any negative criticism. And I think that, like, still, all of the negative criticism that I gave Cr1TiKaL is on point and accurate to what I think about the game. It really, I don't know. I'll talk a little bit about Cr1TiKaL. I do plan on, at some point, like, doing at least, like, a little stream of it. Oh, what am I doing? You're supposed to long jump there, not slope boost. Who am I, dude? This is what you get when you don't play the game for, like, it's almost been 2 weeks. But anyways, yeah, I expected negative criticism on that video, but it's still, you know, I don't know, man. It's a little upsetting, just because I'm like, I wish I could just have, like, I understand it, but I wish that, like, because the only other YouTube video I remember getting disliked, in recent memory, I think that would have made it if I just held forward. I was trying to long jump, though, so I wanted to get that in there. The last video I remember getting disliked was, a Terraria video I made. It wasn't even, like, me playing Terraria. I think it was the one where it was either a tier list, like a shitty fucking tier list. Those videos are so bad. It was either a tier list or me looking at the patch notes. But whatever it was, someone disliked the video and was, like, very angry in the comments section. So at least then I got, like, a little bit of dialogue with them and could understand why they disliked the video. And in the end, I think they ended up being like, yeah, okay, I was just, like, really upset in the moment. I actually think, like, your criticisms are fine, or whatever the fuck they said. But, they left the dislike, which is fine. That's fair. They didn't like the video. They didn't like what I had to say about Terraria's patch notes. I mean, I don't know. I think I said it during Cr1TiKaL too, but when I'm, like, really, really critical about a game, when I, like, really tear it apart and talk about the certain aspects that I dislike with the game, it usually is with a game that I want to do better. Like, if I just straight up didn't like a game at all, if I thought it was complete dog shit, I was trying to go for the backup before even trying the slope boost. That's how defeatist I am right now. If I just absolutely hated a game I was playing, I would just say this is shit. You know, I wouldn't try and make any sort of, you know, I wouldn't try any insight into why I think it's bad. I wouldn't make suggestions as to, you know, what could be done better. I would just say, this is shit. You know, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm out. That's like exactly what I did with that one game I played before Cruelty Squad. I forget the name of it by this point. But, like, if I just straight up don't like anything about a game, I'm not going to go, like, super hard into it and, you know, tear it apart. Especially if I can tell that, like, you know, in a lot of cases, like the case with the game before Cruelty Squad, I think it was, like, one of that developer's first games, and you can kind of tell that. Cr1TiKaL Ultimate is definitely not that developer's first game. In fact, you know, I was told and informed that it's a series of games, Cr1TiKaL being the most recent. So they've had plenty of room to analyze and think about the things that don't make sense in the game. So I don't feel very bad critiquing it in the way I did. And also, like, I genuinely think that there are good elements to the game, which is why I want to critique it. It's why I want to, you know, talk about the things that I think could be better. Because, you know, in the end, I'm not just doing it to be an asshole. I'm doing it because, like, I like to play video games. And when I see a video game that's very close to being good, you know, I want to, you know, try my hardest, even though I don't really have that much of a voice in the industry or anything. I still want to try my hardest to, you know, let it be known what I think. And, you know, who cares what I think, right? which is like the ultimate takeaway. Like, if you really are, you know, in complete disagreement with everything I said about Cr1TiKaL Ultimate, then just fucking who gives a shit? Like, you know, I have no voice anyways. It's not like I'm going to become the fucking director CEO of Cr1TiKaL Unlimited. It's just, you know, I'm saying my opinions because I don't like certain parts about the game. Alright, let me fucking... the run's over anyways, so I don't really care about trying to do this quickly. I'll just look at chat for a bit because I saw it flying by. That's funny. Cr1TiKaL, SIRALIM, if you want to look it up. I mean, I don't really recommend it, but it's interesting to talk about at least. Rip, dude. Hate to see a game that actually tried to make it unbreakable. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think that the things that bug me most about Cr1TiKaL are just that, like, the parts that are interesting are kind of treated as an afterthought in the game. Like, the parts that I wish were explored more. And there is, like, a game mode that I think makes more sense as, like, what could be the main premise of the game is, it has, like, a draft-style arena mode, a la Hearthstone or, you know, Slay the Spire, whatever you want to compare it to, where you pick, you know, out of a list of a few monsters until you have a complete team of 6, and then you do battle. That, for one, like, you know, you have to, on the fly, think of, like, synergies that work between the monsters, so it's already, like, a more interesting construction of your team than the base game has. And beyond that, you actually have to, like, interface with the combat slightly, which in the real game, like, you know, my team is at a point where nothing can do basically any damage to me. Dude, I'm so bad at this. Like, so bad at barrels. I just can't do it. Yeah, my team is at a point where nothing can do damage to it, and I mean, it's kind of annoying. I blame myself for the team being annoying because, like, I picked the Kabbalist as the starter class, and apparently Kabbalist just happens to be, like, one of the most annoying classes to play as, because, I mean, the way it works is, like, you're constantly triggering random spell effects, which leads to, in a lot of cases, me accidentally resurrecting the entire enemy team after I've killed them all. That happens fairly frequently. I've added, like, I've added a monster, I don't know what to call them. I've added a monster to my team that makes it so that when enemies are resurrected, there's a 75% chance that they're instantly killed instead of being resurrected. So that helps a little bit. That stat is also not capped, so if I wanted to waste a trait slot, I could add another one of those to the team, and then it would be impossible to revive monsters, but 75% is enough, and I'm getting way too into the minutia, but, like, these are the things that are interesting about the game. Like, these are aspects of the game that I like. I hate it when he just, like, gets stuck in the tree and gets, like, rigidly bounced out of it. I think that's due to me not having a good position, but, like, I don't even know, man. It's so finicky. I really need to just commit the slightest bit of time to learning the better setup that Hark recommended me, but I just can't be fucked, honestly. Like, you know, I hardly feel like streaming Hobbit anymore. And to want to spend time outside of stream to learn how to do one trick maybe slightly more consistently than the way I'm doing it is, I don't know, man. I just can't be bothered. Like, I try my hardest to get as far out on the platform as possible, but it doesn't seem to help. Always feel like downloading Apex again, but realize no friends plus tryhards. Yeah, I don't know. If, like, the only games you enjoy are those games that kind of require, I mean, they not necessarily require, but, like, are kind of only fun if you have friends to play with. I feel for you, because, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to do it regularly. Like, you know, the only person who's regularly available to play video games with is my girlfriend, and, you know, neither of us really like Apex or fucking League or any MOBA or any multiplayer game. I think she was interested in maybe doing Rocket League for a little bit, but I played a decent bit of Rocket League with my friends years ago, and I got burnt out on it. But, yeah, that sucks. Like, random queuing in games like that is absolutely awful, so you're just kind of fucked. Aw, no, dude. That's extra sad. Yeah, I mean, I don't really play D&D, so I don't know what it feels like to have a D&D group fall apart, but that is, like... That is... You can't even queue. You can't do a D&D queue. You're absolutely, you know, out of options if you don't have friends to do that with. Well, hopefully one day things look up for Hamclo. Oh, okay. Well, if you still got a handful of people to play with, then you're fine. You're fine. No sweat. But anyways, yeah, Cr1TiKaL kind of blows. Like, I don't know. The fun parts of the game, to me, are team construction, and I feel like the combat could be interesting. There are a number of things that make the combat fall apart. Like, the way defense is done in Cr1TiKaL is kind of complete ass as well. Which is why, like, my team is borderline invincible. His defenses are way too strong in the game. I mean, for one, the defense stat is just really poorly designed. There's almost nothing that goes through defense. I think there's like a handful of spells that will go through some of your defense. It's not even all of your defense. And there are some spells that can lower your defense. But enemies, like, hardly even do that shit. Like, they usually just try and kill you. And if you have your defense high enough, nothing can do damage to you. But then beyond that, on top of your defense, there's also... What the fuck is happening to the RuneScape music? That freaked me out. That didn't sound normal. Something felt off there. Beyond the defense stat, which is awful... there are many units that have traits that give your entire party, like, raw damage mitigation. And a lot of it, too. Like, I think I have 2 different units that give me, when capped out on their effect, 90% damage reduction, and those stack on top of each other in order. So I only take 1% of damage, and then that 1% of damage I take is mitigated by my defense, and there's also, I have a fucking, another one, sorry, I have another 50% damage reduction unit that carries, like, everyone takes 50% less damage, and also, the negative side of that is that when you do take damage, all of your other units are hit for 25% of the damage that the first unit was hit by. This is a little confusing. I mean, it's kind of a confusing game when you get into, like, the nitty-gritty, which is usually, like, that is what I like about it. You know, I'm not gonna say that, like, that's bad or, you know, things should be more clear. I do think it should be a little bit more clear, in, like, the order that these things work. Like, it's not really clear. I wasn't sure if there was, like, a, you know, if all of the damage reduction was just added into one damage reduction stat that's maybe, like, capped at a certain point, or how that works. That's not really explained anywhere, but apparently it's not capped, and they just work in sequence with each other, like I said. But, sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, the downside of that trait, that it, when you take damage, hits all of your other units for 25% of that damage, does not matter. Because, like, the first initial hit is, yeah, like, roughly 0.5% of the original damage that was supposed to hit you. And then that gets cut down to another quarter of that to hit the other enemies, which is usually just going to turn into 0 damage. Like, it's almost always just going to turn into 0 damage when it gets that low because of your defense stat. And that's kind of an issue I have with, like, a lot of effects like that. And you know, it really shows how poorly designed the defense stat is that there are a number of effects that, like, when you do damage to somebody, it splits damage to, like there's one that when you hit a unit with an attack, 35% of that damage hits another random enemy, which sounds like a good stat. Like, that sounds like something you would want to have. This is awful. I can't even get the slope boost. Like, that sounded good to me at first. There's another unit that whenever you cast any spell, it does an AoE damage to all of the enemy units based on 30% of, like, the unit who cast the spell's intelligence. Like, these sound strong until you realize that because of the way defenses work in the game, basically any amount of damage that's not 100% of the damage that should be dealt ends up being a 0 because of the defense stat. Like, unless you're doing a full 100% damage hit, say goodbye to that damage, because it's just gonna get rounded down to 0 after defenses. It's not particularly good. And that's just, like, one of the complaints, and that's a complaint. That's, like, a nuanced complaint. You know, no one can talk about me taking cheap shots at Cr1TiKaL anymore. That's a complaint that I needed to spend, like, hours of playing the game to rationalize and understand why the fuck the 35% hits are only doing 0 damage all the time. I think the game is kind of shooting itself in the foot a little bit, just by the way they have, like, certain things implemented. Like, I don't know, it should be a red flag to anybody when you're making a game and, like, your primary option for how to handle combat is completely idly. Like, that is the majority of how I would imagine almost everybody who enjoys the game plays it, is you just make a team so strong that you can turn the combat into auto mode and all of the enemies die without you trying and you never take any damage. Like, I don't know. I feel like you're kind of trapping yourself when you make a decision like that. I feel like it came as a result of them realizing that, like, the combat didn't feel fun to them, and they weren't enjoying how combat felt, or maybe they thought it was getting tedious, or whatever the case is. Like, clearly, they ran into the issue when developing the game that the combat did not feel fun as a... What the fuck is happening? Did I just buy something? The fuck did I just do? I think I just, like, bought rocks. Okay. That's what I get for trying to leave vendor quickly. I bought 3 rocks. Awesome, dude. You love to see it. The speedrun's going really good so far, if you haven't noticed. I'm only solidly, 13 minutes behind? It's not so bad. Could be worse. I can't believe it. I was so good until, what the fuck, camera? I was so good until the end of Overhill. As soon as I started fucking up that slope boost, everything fell apart. I mean, I don't know. It probably could have been salvageable by that point, but then the multiple deaths in riddles, followed by, probably the worst barrels I've actually completed. You know, there wasn't much hope for this run going forward. I think I was too far to the right. I was too far to the right. I knew I was too far to the right. Why did I commit? I said I was too far to the right as soon as I jumped. But yeah, it's clear that the developer of Cr1TiKaL felt that something was wrong with the combat. So instead of, like, I don't know, spending the time to analyze and figure out how to make the combat more interesting, they decided the best course of action was to kind of just remove combat from the game, which is weird considering that that's, like, I don't know, that's, like, primarily all you do in the game. So by removing that, like, once you've constructed your team and to a point where it's basically, you know, borderline immortal, the gameplay boils down to going into the same handful of levels over and over again, doing the random, tedious, like, side quest bullshit that each area has to get more valuable resources, which don't even mean anything, because by this point in the game, you've already basically, you know, you've finalized your team to a point where everything is done. Like, there's no improving on my team. My team is, I think I slashed too late there. And I also was a little bit too far back on the platform before jumping. At least I'm at the point playing this game that I mostly know what's going wrong when I don't nail something. The difference being barrels. Barrels is the exception to that rule. I have absolutely no idea why barrels doesn't work when barrels doesn't work. But, I mean, I don't know. I can guess, right? Like, I just have to assume that barrels isn't working for me because my positioning isn't as far to the right as it should be. Whatever. I don't think the angle, at least MK said something along the lines of the angle not really mattering that much when doing barrels. It's primarily just how far out you get on the platform. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. Cr1TiKaL's kind of like a tedious slog to play. There was almost no parts of the game that I was like actively engaged and interested. Like, even going through the campaign where like all of the levels that I go into are like new and, you know, you would hope that they're new and interesting and exciting in some way, but almost every new level I went into, I was just like, this is just like a reskin of the same shit I've been doing constantly throughout the game so far. And you have to go through so fucking many levels to quote-unquote beat the game. And then they have the audacity to make you go through like an additional fucking 160 levels or something to get to like the real end game. Like they introduce these random bosses that'll show up every 5 levels, and to beat all of them you have to do like 160 some odd levels. It's way too many. And, you know, the game is not interesting enough on its own to keep my attention for that long. So I'm mostly done with Cr1TiKaL. Like, I can't imagine myself going back for any other reason than just to, like, spend a few hours on stream kind of, you know, showing my tell. Because right now I'm just, you know, talking. And, you know, for all you know, since I imagine most people don't know anything about Cr1TiKaL, I could just be talking out my ass. This could all be bullshit. But, it's not, and, you know, okay, isn't there, like, you're supposed to go here? Oh, I'm dead. Turns out the ring doesn't make you instantly invincible. What the fuck? My gathering was gold? You love to see it. Alright, well, now I get another chance here. This is such a good run, dude. I'm glad I fucked up my Cloud's Burst, because if I had, like, a flawless Cloud's Burst on the run that I was 16 minutes behind, I'd be a little upset. There you go. Finally got a good slash jump. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I could just be talking out my ass, but that's basically the only reason I can imagine streaming the game again, is just to be like, hey, you know, here's like live action examples of all of the things I hate about it. Which I'm sure that video, you know, if just me showing my first impressions got some negative criticism from people who really like the game, I'm sure me actively going into it and showing examples of things I don't like would attract all sorts of positive attention. I can only imagine that would be a fun time for everyone. Bilbo, just grab the damn ladder, dude. I need to figure out how to do this consistently. There you go. I'm so bad at grabbing the ladder. It's not something you would really think is difficult to do, and I don't think it's supposed to be difficult to do, but I have trouble with it on the reg. I'm so fucking good at wall walking, dude. Except for that one series of races where I was really bad at it. Or was it races, or was I just randomly playing the game? Who knows, dude? I can't fucking keep my stream straight. They're always like a week or so in between. And I never finished talking about what I was saying when I first started the stream. It's this one, right? Yeah, I thought a little bit about what I asked Moose during the interview, when Moose said that, like, he doesn't have a consistent stream schedule, but that he also streams, you know, on average once every couple of weeks. And I was like, well, that's kind of a schedule. Which it is like kind of a schedule. And then I thought about what the fuck I was doing, and I was like, damn, you know, I was talking about how, like, little of a schedule I have, and I've kind of devolved into streaming at, like, you know, the same time of the week, every week. And I was like, that's a schedule. Like, you know, for someone who was trying to avoid a schedule, I kind of fell into the trap of, you know, I would stop streaming for a few days, and then I'd be like, oh man, it's been like a week since I last streamed. I have to stream. And then, wouldn't you know it, I'm streaming every Saturday. And I've accidentally given myself a schedule. So I decided to break that a little bit. And also, like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of it goes both ways. Like, I don't just mean that, like, by trying to cut out the schedule behavior, I'm gonna force myself into streaming even less. That's not exactly what I mean. It goes the other way as well, where, like, there are definitely a handful of days where I'm like, I could stream, but it hasn't been a week yet, you know? Like, I would talk myself out of streaming even if I wanted to stream, just because I could, you know? Just because, like, I had set a precedence of streaming roughly once a week, and if it hadn't been that long, then I didn't have to stream, so I would usually back out of it. But I'm not saying I'm gonna stream more often either, just like, I don't know. I'm gonna try and be more on top of how I'm actually feeling about streaming, and if I really just want to stream, then I should just stream. Shut up, Bilbo. I like to imagine, since I just called the narrator Bilbo, that it's Bilbo narrating years later into the future, after he's gone through his second period. I'm glad you enjoy them. You've hung out for a while, so that definitely means something. Most people who enjoy my stream pop up, like, for one stream. It happens so often, though. Like, I don't want to make anyone feel bad if they, like, show up for a stream and you know, are excited to be there, but then don't show up again. It happens. I've been there. You know, I rarely check out new streams, but there have certainly been occasions where, like, you know, I found a new streamer that I enjoy, and then I just kind of, like, don't get around to ever watching them again and end up unfollowing. It happens. I feel slightly guilty about it, but at the same time, I just fucking... I get to the point where, like, I'm watching the stream and I enjoy it in the moment, but then, like, after that moment, it usually happens as a result of me having, like, absolutely no one to watch, because, like, none of the people I normally watch are live. You know, I'll check out a stream that I don't normally check out. Like, you know, that happened... Oh, fuck, I used my jump attack on accident. That happened, like, a week and a half ago. Nobody I would normally watch was live, so I ended up popping into Limmy's stream. You know, I've watched a bit of the Limmy show. I think that Limmy is, like, a very funny guy, but I'd never actually checked out his live stream, until I was kind of, like, you know, tricked. I was tricked into it by Twitch telling me I would enjoy this stream as a result of the other streamers I watch, and I did enjoy it. I thought he was just doing, like, something I've never seen anyone else do on Twitch, at least. He was just doing, like, improv. Like, he was just doing a bit and extending the bit for as long as he could, and I thought he did a good job of it. Which, you know, who would think that the person who got, like, a real career on TV comedy writing knows a thing or two on how to be funny. So, yeah, you know, I watched Limmy in the moment, and I enjoyed it, but I've not watched Limmy since, you know? I had that one stream that I watched him. I did follow him, but, like, you know, I just never went back because, like, the only reason I was there to begin with is the fact that no one I normally watch was live, and that has not been a problem since. So, I understand for sure. But it certainly, I don't know, it gets an extra special little smiley feeling when somebody hangs out in my chat regularly. I'm not used to that kind of shit. I expect everybody to hate me. That's how it's supposed to go on Twitch. You're supposed to hate watch and dislike all of my Cr1TiKaL Ultimate videos. Oh, man. I've definitely... So while I had never watched his stream before that point, I definitely watched plenty of, like, little highlight things, like little funny little clips on YouTube that get brought up occasionally. Like, I knew that I would probably enjoy the stream. I had just never been before that moment. Alright, solid run. Oh, it's getting better by the second. Getting better by the second, dude. This movement is out of control. Yeah, well, I had other things to talk about other than just Cr1TiKaL Ultimate. I went to the grocery store today. I was kind of coerced into going to the grocery store today. I didn't want to. Like, I usually, whenever I have to go to the grocery store, like, I'll just eat absolute fucking garbage out of the pantry. Like, the past few days in a row, I've had just, like, buttered, salted noodles, because that's all we fucking have in the house. I'll try and stall going to the grocery store for as long as possible, because I don't know. I hate busy work. I really don't like driving, so especially busy work that means I have to drive is like the worst storm of things that I'll, procrastinate for as long as possible. And also, my mom was on vacation for the past few days, so she just got home last night, and we didn't really get much time to talk, because she, like, basically got home late at night and went straight to bed. So I was like, hey, Mom, kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you want to go out to eat? Because I've got no fucking food in the house and don't really want to go to the grocery store. But I got a little bit of a lecture, I got lectured by my own mother. Astonishing, I know. That we have plenty of food in the house. And I'm sure that a lot of people get this, so, it's not like, oh, how dare she, this is pretty standard activity. But, like, we honestly literally had, like the food that she had shown me as, like, options to cook were foods that had been frozen for, like, months, and, it was, like, the level of frozen that, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't even feel right attempting, what the fuck, where am I? I wouldn't have felt safe microwaving the food for as long as it would need to be microwaved to cook from that point forward. That happened once when I was, like, really young, and I've been so paranoid about it. Once when I was, like, the second platform, he actually went with it. When I was, like, super young, like, the only food we had in the house was like, a frozen chicken breast that I was like, sure, I'll try and cook this. My mom just told me to microwave it. I had no idea how long to microwave it, so I just, like, put it in for 30 seconds to a minute and, like, felt it afterwards and, tried to get it down to the point where it wasn't frozen at all. And it was so frozen that it took me, like, probably 6 to 7 minutes of microwaving until it started to get, like, not hard to the touch. And by the time I felt that it was, soft enough and felt right to cook, I, took it out of the plastic wrap and saw that, like, the meat on the inside was, like, completely grayed over and had already, like, cooked from the inside out in the microwave. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll just never use the microwave to thaw something out ever again. But yeah, anyways, so I was like, we've got no food at home. I'm gonna go to the grocery store. And I did. And, love the bats. Absolutely love the bats. Was a little upset when I got home and my mom had gone out to eat by herself, I wouldn't be upset if she had just gone out to eat. Like, that's fine. But the fact that, she gave me this whole lecture about, like, oh, we've been eating out too much lately. We need to cut back on this, how dare you ask me to eat out, just for her to go out to eat by herself. I was like, all right, whatever. I just cooked my own food and and, you know, let it known that that was kind of shitty, but whatever. I mean, I don't want to just shit on my mom. There's certainly some things she does that annoy me, but, I mean, all in all, I can't complain too much, because she's been, like, my sole supporter since fucking, what is it, like 2-3 years ago? So, I can certainly have my little gripes here and there, but it's whatever, you know? Lemmy is definitely funny. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, so I don't really do... I did do, like, a few edited videos for my channel in the past, but, like, I just can't be fucked to anymore. Like, it's so much effort to like, fully edit down a, you know, like, 5-hour VOD into something digestible. And I was never really good at it either. Like, I think Nicholas and I streamed, like, 2 or 3 hours of Fall Guys once. And I was like, that was funny enough that I should make a highlight of it. And the highlight ended up being like an hour long because there were way too many moments that I was like, that has to make it into the final cut. And, you know, at that point, you're like, you're not making digestible content. You're just like spending hours of time editing 3 hours down into one, like that. So there's a number of reasons why I don't think it's even like really worth it for me to edit my own content at this point. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. I wonder, like, if, because there were certainly moments on my stream where there's less of those recently as a result of me caring a little bit more about the kind of content I make. Like, especially when I first started streaming, and, like, I wasn't really sure what I even wanted to do with streaming or how much I cared about it. There were a lot of streams that just completely sucked ass. And I had, like, very little effort put into them. Especially when I was trying to stream, like, nearly every day. It's just like, I don't know, man. You cannot, like, strum up the amount of energy needed to be entertaining for hours at a time when you've been doing that the past, like, 3 or 4 days. It's definitely an expendable resource, and it gets used up pretty quickly. Damn. Oh, that's awful. You know, when I laugh at the horrible cooking, because I've lived with that my whole life, myself included. I'm not very good at cooking. But, yeah, that's just sad. That's just really sad. For sure. Like, I mean, there aren't many people who stream, like, every single day and keep up that level of entertainment. Like, I don't wanna fire shots, so I'm gonna leave this completely ambiguous. I'm not gonna specify any names, but there are certainly a number of people who stream every day that I'm like, you don't need to do this, and beyond that, you would probably be better and make more entertaining content if you just took some days off. Like, for people who really, like who do the trendy thing when it was trendy of, like, literally streaming every single day, like, weekends and everything. I mean, look, there are a number of people who got successful off of doing that, but at a certain point, I'm like, you're shooting yourself in the... You're killing your own content. Like, you're actively sabotaging yourself by streaming as much as you are. So that, like, yeah, there's more content out there, but, like, if you're sacrificing, like, 90% of the quality just to make more quantity of content, I'm like, come on, dude. You know, we both know that you would be better off if you just took more breaks. And this is me, you know, self-inflating, rationalizing why I take as much time as I do off. I could definitely stream more than I stream, but, yeah, definitely, like, every day is too much. Way too much. I mean, there are even moments, you know, I respect Northern Lion a bunch, and, you know, think he's constantly trying to be entertaining on his stream, which cannot be said for a lot of people on Twitch. But he puts active effort into being entertaining and, you know, doing bits and, you know, actually making jokes that are worth laughing at. And, you know, as a result of his stream schedule and you know, dealing with a newborn child, Can you still call it a newborn child if it's like a year and a half old? Yeah, you know, there are definitely some moments. I watch, like, you know, almost every bit of content Northern Lion puts out. It's just, like, the easiest second monitor content while I'm doing other things. Yeah, there are certainly moments where I'm like, even gods can fall. You know, even the person I respect most on Twitch has, like, boring moments as a result of how often he streams and, just being busy outside of that. An XQC enjoyer. I've never really watched XQC. I mean, I don't know. When a streamer is that big, I just feel kind of uncomfortable watching. I don't know why. Especially when they're, like, a very Twitch streamer. Like, I don't know the best way to put it. Like, I guess it's less to do with the streamer himself and more to do with, like, his community, if you can call it a community. I just find it difficult to watch. I don't know. I'm not like, I fucking hate Twitch culture. You know, I'm not like a big fan of Twitch in general. Like, I like the site. I use the site. There are a lot of things Twitch does that I don't agree with. You know, I am affiliated, so, you know, I am technically bound to them to some degree, but, like, it's not like I signed an NDA or anything. I don't have a real contract or anything. You know, I'm at a position where I can say anything I want about Twitch, and I do when I think there's things worth talking about. Like, them doing a TwitchCon is kind of weird. Them doing, like, 2 separate TwitchCons, I'm like, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like America really has things under control well enough for that kind of thing, but you do you, I guess. I mean, I don't even know how many people are interested in going to something like TwitchCon. I mean, TwitchCon in general is so fucking weird, dude. There's absolutely no reason for TwitchCon to exist. Like, you know, people who stream and, you know, can afford going to an event like that as, like, the talent of the event. More often than not, it seems like it's just people who want to, you know, group up with their friends that they've met online through streaming or whatever, and that's fair. You know, I mean, that's what most conventions are, to begin with, is just, like, an excuse to hang out with people that you might not live near, or whatever. So there's nothing wrong with that, but I just like the TwitchCon itself. Like, what the fuck is the convention? Like, it has literally no reason to exist. But anyways, I don't know, I don't have too much to say on that topic. XQC, you know, I do have a slightly XQC tangential story to tell. So, Saturday, I went out to eat with my dad and my sister, and, my step-brother-in-law, so my stepsister from my dad's new marriage, her husband, started up like a gaming equipment store. Like, they've got VR stuff, they've got like nice chairs. I say nice kind of hesitantly because it's like a lot of DX Racer shit, which is not particularly comfortable or good for your back, but I can't fucking talk because I'm sitting in like a living room chair because my actual office chair broke like a few months ago. So they got better chairs than what I'm using. But anyways, yeah, you know, it's just that general kind of store. They got fucking G Fuel, they got Monster energy drinks, they got what you would expect from a slightly cringy gamer type store. Computer parts, mouse pads, I'm just literally fucking rattling off like a Costco warehouse right now. You get the gist. He started out that kind of store, and this weekend did a Smash Ultimate tournament. I don't know how good of an idea that was, because you could tell he organized it all himself, and that showed. You could tell that he had absolutely no idea how to run an event like this. They had, like, I think 3 Switch setups. They had 3 consoles there to play games, and over 150 people had joined because it was open invite. So yeah, the first round robin or however fucking format they used must have taken like 8 hours or something to get through everyone. I wouldn't know because we showed up like, I don't know, halfway through the event, and it just looked sad. Like, the atmosphere about it was just like, you know, 3 pairs of people silently playing Smash. Well, I say silently. They were silent. The fucking music was absolutely, you know, eardrum piercingly loud playing in the area. But beyond that, I think probably the most noteworthy part of the event is, like, centerfold, like, right in the middle of the room, like, the biggest TV that they had in the shop. What was it playing? Was it swapping between the different perspectives of the people competing in the tournament? Was it showing, like, some fucking, I don't know, like, shoutcasters, like, calling in from an offline site or something? No! It had nothing to do with the event. The biggest TV in the shop during this tournament was just playing XQC stream. That's it. It just had XQC on it, because I guess my step-brother-in-law likes XQC enough to make him, like, the center point of his shop during his own tournament. Felt very strange. It felt incredibly out of place, but that was funny enough. There were also, like, I don't even know how the fuck did he get so many people to like, set up booths? I have no idea, but there were so many people with, like, you know, the typical kind of, like, anime convention artist booths outside, which was cool. Kind of cool. There were, like, a couple genuinely really talented artists that made art I appreciated, and then there were a lot of people selling, like, Redbubble fucking Rick and Morty mixed with Deadpool ass cringe shirts. It was pretty bad. But there were a couple of actual artists there. It was just such a strange environment. Like, I don't know, man. We showed up, like, looked around the place, realized how uncomfortable it was, and then we were just like, all right, we're gonna head out, but thanks for showing us around. Oh, man. I was also informed by my dad, who saw, like, a Cowboy Bebop printout or something at one of the booths. I was informed by my dad, who, because I don't even remember. Like, it must have been, like, 2 or so years back when I was watching Cowboy Bebop. I told my dad about it and thought that he would like it, since Cowboy Bebop is definitely a more Western anime. Like, there's very little anime tropes, and it runs in the same way that, like, a Western cartoon runs for the most part. So I thought he would enjoy it enough and recommended it to him. But he hadn't talked about it for, like, years since I told him about it. And then, like, the worst thing he could have said, the worst Cowboy Bebop news I could have imagined. It was probably, I mean, at this point, it's probably, oh, that was awesome, dude. Probably self-explanatory. He watched the live-action Netflix rendition of Cowboy Bebop, which, yeah, no surprise, he didn't really like. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? You go into theater mode so chat doesn't load? I don't have that problem with theater mode. But, I don't chat anywhere. Like, I don't know, I feel like me as a streamer, as an influencer, right? Like, I fucking hate the idea of networking. Oop, nice. Good start to this run. I just hate the idea of, like, trying to make a friend and get to know someone just for the sake of, like, improving your stream. And it gets to me so much. Like, I fucking hate, like, even asking people to do things with me. Like, I find it really difficult. Like, I messaged M. Karma, you know, I talked about this, before I started Hobbit, because I thought it would be fun content for both of us, and, you know, at the time, I didn't realize that, like, MK hardly does anything on his own stream himself. But, you know, just watching the documentary and, you know, being a guy who, you know, despite trying to put fairly little effort into my stream, you know, I still try and make it entertaining as much as possible. And, like, when I think of an idea that I think would make for good content, I try and go for it. But I find it so difficult to reach out to people because I feel like no matter what, no matter, you know, how small my numbers are and how small their numbers are, no matter the numbers situation, I just feel like it's always going to be taken as, like, you're doing this to benefit yourself and your own stream, which I hate, man. I hate. Like, there's so many people that I would love to reach out to, but I just feel like I either can't or shouldn't for whatever reason, just because I'm afraid of them taking it the wrong way and, you know, thinking it's a personal gain networking type situation. It's gross. But now I'm gonna make a joke about that and say, I feel like all these years, dude, I've been in so many fucking Twitch chats my entire life. Not even true anymore. I usually watch VODs, but I definitely did watch live at a certain point in my life. And if only I was an active chatter, dude. If only I didn't have the social anxiety tied to how people perceive me. Maybe I'd have a cool streamer friend. Sorry, Moose. Sorry, Crix. Sorry, everyone I've interacted with in the past. You're just not cool enough. Sorry, everyone knows on Twitch that your level of coolness depends on your average viewership. This is how it works. That's why that one guy at TwitchCon was like, I'm better than all of you. He had the right idea, dude. He was going places. QU sang great song every song. They're all good songs, Brent. They're all good songs. Speaking of Twitter, speaking of cringe Twitter, you wouldn't believe who I saw get canceled today. Like, come on, Twitter, like, you know, some cancellations I understand, but I saw #blackface Hitler. Like, are we really so depraved that we're canceling Hitler now? Come on, guys. Not the sacred cow. Have some standards. Sorry. You know, I need at least one controversial joke per stream. That's my one. I do know I clicked on it. I saw that it's actually a fucking, what is it? What's his name? Trudeau. I know it's a Trudeau thing. Sorry. I'm getting into Canadian politics. Just making a joke. I thought it was funny. Sorry. But, fucking, I don't know. I don't have anything else interesting to talk about. I probably do. It's, you know, it's been like, it's been a week and a half almost since I last streamed. I love waiting there excessively long before even trying to clip. It's like my own little reprieve, you know? I take a little break there. Everyone needs a personal little break when streaming The Hobbit. I mean, it's a bit of a brain fryer. There are certainly very little moments of downtime in the run, so take any little break you get. Anyways, yeah, I started. I feel like every time I go live, I talk about a new game I've started playing. I can't stick to playing one game through completion. I think that's a really good, like, metric for where my mental is at, is how difficult it is for me to actually complete a game that I'm playing off stream. If I'm switching from game to game, like, every couple of days, something's fucked. Like, I'm fucked in the head at that point. But I did switch to... We were playing Ni no Kuni, I think, the last time I talked about it. Maybe Aria of Sorrow was the last time I talked. I don't even know if I mentioned Aria of Sorrow. We're playing Ty the Tasmanian Tiger off stream. That's what I'm doing recently. Ni no Kuni, good game. I've enjoyed it so far. We are going to finish it at some point. I just get sidetracked really easily. Apparently a GameStop adjacent store was streaming a streamer you watch play the new Pokemon and he trolled them live. That's funny. That's funny. Hey, Nooch! How's it going? Thanks for the good luck. As you can see, I'm doing really, really well at Overhill. Twitter gets mad at everything, dude. It's crazy. Although, I don't know, for people who talk about, like, their Twitter timeline being unbearable, just, like, I don't know, if you really fucking hate the kind of shit you see on your timeline constantly, just, like, unfollow the people that were retweeting that stuff. Like, I don't know, my Twitter timeline is, like, probably 80% full of hentai, so it's pretty good for me. I've got no problems with my timeline. Okay. Don't check my follows. It's all weird shit. You'll make fun of me. All right. Fuck it, dude. Let's get a real run going here. Yeah, I started playing Tai the Tasmanian Tiger, which is, I don't know, Tai is such a weird game. I don't even know like how popular it is. It's popular enough that people bought a 4th Tai game that was released on Steam. Just for the sake of funding re-releases of the games on Steam. Like, I think they are remasters. I don't even think they're just re-releases. I think they did, like, you know, touch up the textures and everything. Well, you're not gonna find that on my Twitter follower list. Unfortunately. Sorry, Hamglow. But, yeah, I don't know how popular it is, but I played it as a kid. You know, it's one of my favorite stories to talk about me playing video games as a child. Because this, I don't know, this just, like, happened. And I feel like it probably happened to other people a lot more than it happened to me as a kid. Because I got on the internet fairly early on in my life. But, when I first played Tai the Tasmanian Tiger, I was probably, like, 8, 9, I don't know. I was in elementary school for sure. And I got stuck at a point in the game. I got stuck on the second boss of the game. I vividly remember that fucking shark boss fight. Hopefully I'm not misremembering. I think it's the second boss, but whatever. The shark boss fight for sure. I got stuck on, and me being like a fucking 8 or 9-year-old who has no idea what they're doing in their life, and also with the fucking GameStop Pro membership, because you know I'm a gamer, right? I'm a fucking little gamer baby. Sequel to Boss Baby. I just returned it. Like, I just fucking sold it as a used game and got something else. That's what I did, like, very frequently when I got stuck in games, is, I would just be like, I can't play this anymore. It's going back. Like, it happened very often. And I vividly remember it with Tai specifically, because that was, like, the last one. That was the last game that happened to, because whatever the next game I got, I don't even remember what that was, but whatever the next game I got was, I got stuck in that too, and I had this fucking amazing idea to look up how to get past the part I was stuck in. I found fucking game FAQs for the first time. I was hooked for life. Never will I ever get stuck in a video game again. But I remember feeling so much regret in that moment, because, like, the game that I had replaced Tai, the game that I had replaced Tai with, I liked significantly less. I was like, this game is shit. I should have figured out how to look things up online sooner. There's immense regret with that decision, and it will stick with me for the rest of my life. But I had forgotten most of Tai until replaying it just now. Like, a bunch of memories are surging back to me as I go through all the levels. Especially, like, I had completely blocked out the hog riding level. There's, for those Tai enthusiasts out there, for the average Tai enjoyer. There's a level in, like, the second area where it, like, completely, in, you know, typical early 2000s 3D video game style, they just needed to throw in a gimmicky level that completely changes the way the game is played. Like, you've been doing the same shit for too long. Let's just fucking randomly put in a driving segment to the game. Which is basically what it is. Instead of doing your normal platforming collect-a-thon type meme, you're just riding around on a wild boar, and it's not very good. It controls like ass. I actually, like, I think I broke the game a little bit. There's one part where I got stuck doing a wicked burnout, and I went into it because I'm a funny guy, and I know how much the average Australian loves their burnouts. So I just, I got stuck on like a rock or something, and I was just spewing dust particles everywhere. And then I just died. Like, I think I actually got to the point where the game was like, too much is happening in memory right now. We need to fucking kill this motherfucker. I didn't feel safe jumping there after I jump attacked. So that was fun. But yeah, I'm as soon as I entered that level, I knew I would hate it, but I couldn't remember why. And I very quickly remembered why that level was so ass. I mean, it's ass for a number of reasons, but especially, like, in almost every other level, the collectibles are put out in, like, a sensible way where it's almost difficult to miss the collectibles. That level's not the case. There's, like, everything is just like a fucking brownish orangish color. Everything blends in. So trying to collect everything in the level was pretty bad. Pretty bad. Baby's first memory overflow. Yeah, I was expecting the game to crash. I'm honestly really surprised it didn't crash and just killed me. Childhood game was the Fable series. I tried playing Fable 1 like years ago, and it could not keep my interest for long enough. I think it was partially because I knew that, like, everybody more or less just, like, hates the sequels. And I was like, why do I even care about this, like, long-form RPG game? Fable 2's goated? Maybe it's just the third one everyone hates. I don't know. I know that they hate at least one of the sequels. Or maybe you're just built different. Maybe you just love it. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, third is hated by all. Okay, I knew there was one of them. Let's reset and go back at it. Let's also check my little notebook. Let's check my little streamer notebook and see if I have any fun things to talk about. Let's see, I talked about that. I could talk about, I could talk about the fact that, Will is most hated. We is most hated. We was the third Fable game on Wii? There's no fucking way. There's no way. How did I not know that? Like, I knew that the fourth was. Okay. Dude, I didn't even know there was a fourth one. That's how out of the loop I am. Anyways, me being me. Classic me being bored at night, not having anything to do, and, you know, absolutely abstaining from anything actually productive. I was taken down the classic YouTube auto-recommended loophole of, just feedback loop, there you go, of just going into recommended video after recommended video. And a lot of them I was clicking on a handful of Chubby Emu videos because, I mean, I've watched his videos in incognito for ages. Not incognito because I think that the FBI is going to come after me. Incognito because I desperately try and keep my YouTube automatic recommendation. I can't speak. Automated recommendation. How do you even say this? Is there a good way? The recommendeds, okay? I try to keep the recommended section of YouTube somewhat in line with what I actually want to watch for the most part. So if I'm just watching like a one-off video, I'll open it up in incognito. God, I was having a stroke there. It happens often. I feel like those are the moments that I end up being most embarrassed about after stream, but like, I don't know, man. It's kind of funny to have a stroke. Saying the word wrong, that's like a life hack. That's a cheat into being funny. Hashtag the Grink. Was the Grink there? Probably top 10 all-time tweets. See, Twitter can be good if you know how to use it properly. But anyways, yeah, I've watched Chubby Emus. I mean, for those who don't know, he's a doctor. He's a doctor who does, like, in-depth medical analysis into patients that have, like, particularly interesting, you know, symptoms and illnesses or whatever the fuck. It's usually, like, something that you wouldn't expect to be dangerous, being like, this nearly killed this person. So it makes for great clickbait content, for sure. Oh, it's Xbox Connect, not Wii. I would have been surprised if it was Wii. But yeah, I enjoy it. You know, it's basically like, what if House was real and not quite as dramatic? I don't know. In general, find medical stuff interesting. I mean, I think that's primarily why most people like House, is that, I mean, there is a lot of it is, like, super overblown and not really medically accurate, but it's interesting enough to grasp your attention, right? And that kind of thing is interesting to me, so I've certainly watched his videos throughout the years, but never felt the desire to subscribe. For one, because YouTube keeps auto-recommending them to me anyways, and for two, because, like, I just didn't really know anything about the guy outside of that, and it's, like, very difficult for me to want to subscribe to someone new on YouTube, but also, it's in that sweet spot where he uploads so infrequently. I think it's like once every 2 weeks or something, that I'm like, it's not gonna, like, flood my YouTube feed or anything. Nothing more than, like, Northern Lion's going to. But, also, he was on William Osman's podcast, like, a couple of times recently. So I was like, fuck it, dude, if this guy is friends with cool people, that's the only endorsement I need. It is very strange, because, like, you can tell, especially in the podcast, that, like, he doesn't use the internet that much. Like, he's not terminally online like the rest of us. So, like, despite being fairly young, he's, like, I think in his, like, early 30s. By internet standards, that's old, I guess. But, you know, by human being standards, especially for, like, people who do things on the internet, like, most streamers are, like, nearing their 30s. Maybe not in Minecraft, but in other categories on Twitch, most streamers are nearing their 30s. At least the ones that have been doing it for a long time. So it's very strange seeing someone that's that young. Like, the average fucking meme, because he posts a lot of memes, especially on his Twitter, is, like, really, I don't know. He doesn't quite get it, I don't think. It's like, it's pretty boomer level. No offense, chubby emu, but it's just funny seeing someone who's, like, you know, not a boomer, acting like a boomer online, just because that they have, like, no experience with it. They don't understand. Especially, like, one of the podcasts, they were talking about, like, pirating, and he was like, no, I would never, that's illegal, that's a crime. Are you serious? You would pirate something? Disgusting. I feel like it's impossible to not have conspiracy theories on your YouTube recommended. Despite, you know, YouTube saying they try and take those things off, they do not do a very good or thorough job of making sure that conspiracy theories aren't recommended to, like, the average 5-year-old watching YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I love Nile Red too. I find chemistry super interesting. Like, if I was ever to go into, like, a real scientific, not career, but, like, if I was ever gonna go to, like, school for something again, it would be for chemistry. Just because I feel like it's very irresponsible to try and do that kind of thing without any sort of, you know, real education on it. I don't want to say that, like, you can't learn these kinds of things online, but, like, it's certainly a little sketchy when you could accidentally poison yourself from not properly ventilating or something. I don't mind math. You know, I'm forced to do math a little bit, so I've got that part under control. Also, like, the math that's done in chemistry, I mean, I'm sure that the average chemist will get pissed off at me for saying this, but it's typically not that bad, and most often, if you want to, like, you know, do a certain procedure to get a certain result, they're, like, well documented enough that you don't have to do the math yourself. Like, all of the ratios are calculated for you. Chemistry doesn't need that much math. Thank you. Thank you for backing me up on this, because honestly, I'm ignorant enough that I could be super wrong on that, but I didn't think it was, you know, it's not physics. It's not, like, typically what you associate with a mathematically heavy field, at least as far as sciences go. But anyways, yeah, what was I talking about, Chubby Emu? Like, this bit has, like, basically nowhere to go. I just found it extremely funny. After I subscribed, I looked back at his history, because I'm a nosy little fuck, you know? I like to see what people's first videos are when I subscribe to someone new. And, I was not expecting what I saw. I was not expecting Chubby Emu, the person that most people associate with, like, fairly serious medical commentary, to have started out his YouTube career playing Nuclear Throne. He's got a lot of, I mean, he played a lot of indie games. Like, I guess I maybe should have expected it, because he uses Lifeformed music as his, like, backing music for most of his videos from Dust Force, which, like, I don't really like Dust Force that much, but the OST for it is great. Yeah, maybe I should have expected that, but also, like, I don't know, I thought that maybe Lifeformed was just a popular enough artist on their own that he had found it, you know, tangentially, not necessarily directly from Dust Force. But maybe not. Maybe he just loves indie games in his off time. It was really kind of bad, too. Like, I don't know. I feel bad for, like, trying to shit on someone for doing something, but, like, one of the only videos I clicked on, because, you know, it interests me. I was watching him do the Nuclear Throne Melting Bee skin, which, for those who don't know, Melting is a character in Nuclear Throne that starts out with 2 HP, which is low enough that basically everything in the game one-hit kills you. But you can level up and increase your HP by a couple different means. Wait, is it a couple or just one? It's been so fucking long since I played Nuclear Throne. No, it's kind of a couple. You can either get strong skinned, what's it called? Hardened skin, the crystal one. There's one that gives you extra max HP, and then there's one that protects you from taking a mortal blow once every level, and it recharges if you get your HP back up to max. So if you get either of those, you're significantly more survivable as Melting. But to get the bee skin, which is just like a cosmetic flex, you have to beat the game without getting either of those level up bonuses. So you can always die in one hit throughout the entire game, more or less. Which, that's like a genuinely pretty hard thing to do in Nuclear Throne. So I was surprised to see him. I mean, maybe he didn't actually do it on his first try. Maybe he had, like, scrapped a bunch of recordings. You know, when it's not done live, you can say that fucking anything is your first try, right? But, I'm gonna assume that he did do it on his first try, since he seemed amply excited about it. But I really love, like, one of the top comments for that video was just like, your commentary feels very forced, but you're good at playing Nuclear Throne. I was like, that is the most backhanded compliment you can ever... it's not even a backhanded compliment. That's just, like, a compliment and also an insult. Like, there's not one thing being taken two different ways. That's just two different things. One's mean and one's nice. And, I mean, the nice thing, I don't even think outweighs the mean thing, because, I don't know, for the most part, I think if somebody wants to, like, get into doing YouTube especially, I think a lot of people can do streaming just because, like, you know, in Moose's case, he just streams to, you know, have fun showing off his wicked Mario skills and getting sick, nasty PBs. But, YouTube especially, I feel like you don't go on YouTube unless you actually care about, like, making content. Like, no offense to, like, Moose or anything, but I mean, like, how do I phrase this nicely? I'm just see, now this is a good example of a backhanded compliment. Sorry. Oh, that was just a misfire, if anything. What I mean is that if you're going on YouTube, you specifically care about your content doing well, which, you know, to Moose's own defense, he says that he mostly just does it for himself and doesn't really care about viewership or anything. I feel like if you're doing YouTube, you can't have that. Like, especially if you're editing and stuff, like, you clearly care deeply enough about the content that you would be upset if it didn't get any views. Which I imagine Moose would be upset if, like, his YouTube tutorial wasn't positively received and stuff like that. But streaming? Like, I don't think anybody who streams really cares too much. Not as much as YouTube, at least. I mean, I probably care too much, but not, like, too much, you know? So, yeah, I feel like the positive, like, message that was supposed to go hand in hand with the negative message there did not outweigh it. It's basically telling him that the content is shit, one way or the other. Which, ouch, dude. Ouch. But also, like, I kind of agree. Like, it was very, like, I don't know. I think the videos were released sometime in, like, 2015 or 2016. And, a testament to Chubby Emu not really, you know, being that online. He did not follow the times of what is popular and that kind of gameplay commentary. Because he was commentating it like it was fresh out of, like, the early 2000s or something. He was screaming. God, his thumbnails are, like, horrifying too. He's got some real bad thumbnail faces. Some cursed content for sure. But it's just funny to me how much of a pivot that was. And I feel like, well, I don't know. He deleted some of them too. Like, he had a numbered Nuclear Throne series, and, like, over half of them it looked like were missing. So he deleted a lot of them. What for? Who knows? Maybe he had, like, put copywritten music in it or something. But maybe he just didn't like it. I don't know. Maybe he was just like, this content is ass. I would be surprised, though, because, like, if you're gonna go that far, why would you just delete some of it, right? Like, it's kind of strange to leave half of it there if you're not happy with what you made. But I honestly, I found it surprising that he had left any of that content there. Like, it's such a departure from what he does now that, like, if I was in his position, I would be, like, terribly ashamed of that stuff. I would be like, get this shit out of my YouTube channel. Like, I do things differently now. This isn't me anymore. But the ability to look back at that, you know, admittedly kind of cringe content and stick with it enough to not delete it is admirable. It's, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people who get successful very quickly, you don't really get the full picture ever. And it's cool to see that, like, he had been trying different things on YouTube for, like, multiple years before he actually found something that worked for him. And, you know, in hindsight, you can look at it and be like, you know, you're a doctor and this kind of content doesn't exist on YouTube. You should have experimented with this stuff earlier. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily blame him. Like, if he likes playing indie games and just wanted to see YouTube as, like, a side project that he does for fun, then, the fact that he stuck with it for as long as he did, despite it, you know, clearly not really working for him, is admirable. And he ended up finding something that did work for him in the end too. So I respect it. I respect it for sure. When is my big break, dude? You think I'm ever going up? Okay, so Critical, I feel like out of everything in the interview that I did with Moose, everything was fine, everything was good, but like, I did briefly touch on like the Hobbit's community as a whole, and like, I was like, I feel like a lot of people showed up for Critical, and then Critical never ended up actually running the game, so a lot of those people left, which is, how was I supposed to know that Critical was going to start streaming the game the week after I mentioned that, right? How was I supposed to know? Yeah, he ran it yesterday. I think he did the day before, too. I don't know. I saw there were a couple of VODs. I didn't check them out, but he did. He did. So, I might as well just delete that fucking interview. It's all out of date. I still think what I said was true, though. There were a lot of people who showed up as a direct result of Critical being interested in the run. And then, like, a lot of those people disappeared very quickly afterwards when it had been months, and, I don't know, I feel like everybody kind of assumed that he wasn't going to play the game, but he did. So, who knows, maybe more people will be into the Hobbit community. Maybe this is my big break. This is WillPending's big break. I find a little bit of comfort in that, though. Like, still talking about the chubby emu thing. Like, I don't know. It happens to, like, a lot of the people that I like even Northern Lion. Because, like, Moose had never heard of him. I was like, this was, as a joke, the peak of Northern Lion's content, and I sent him fucking Poison Mushroom, which, for those who aren't deep into Northern Lion's lore, it was like an old Machinima series he did. It was not very good. It was pretty cringe. I do find a little bit of comfort in, like, even the people that I really like having just, like, absolute dog shit content that is completely unwatchable by, modern standards, even outside of my own standards. Makes me feel slightly better that, like, I really haven't been doing this for that long, and I have moments where I'm not, like, always the happiest with how a stream goes. In general, lately, like I said, that hasn't been the case, because I've been limiting my streaming to the points that, like, I'm only going to stream if I actively have the energy for it, and if I think that, like, it'll make for good content today. Otherwise, I'll just not stream, which is good, and not what I used to do. Have fun, Hamglow, with your real BRBing. What was I saying? Dude, this is ADHD problems. I really probably should be medicated on ADHD. Maybe that would help my disgusting speech impediments. I don't really have speech impediments. I don't think so, at least. I don't know. What is the... like, is there such a thing as, like, do you need to get, like, a medically realized, like, a medically... I don't know. Like, approved hearing before you can safely say that you have an actual speech impediment? I just have trouble saying words a lot. And more often than not, it's not having trouble saying the words, but I'll, like, mid-sentence decide that I want to say the sentence differently, and that just makes the entire sentence fall apart. Happens all the goddamn time. Or just not thinking of, like, the word I'm trying to use in time. It's rough, dude. It's rough being, stupid, like me. But, anyways, yeah, I was talking about comfort. It's comforting knowing that, yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel bad about, like, I'll feel bad in the moment about certain streams, or at least I used to, significantly more often than I do nowadays. But in hindsight, like, I don't know, some of the streams that I felt bad at, like, aren't that bad, especially when you compare it to, like, the streams I used to do when I, like, really first started. I haven't looked back at, like, one of my old streams in forever, But, like, it's gotta be awful, dude. Like, my first stream ever is still on my YouTube channel as, like, my first video ever uploaded, and I guarantee it's fucking unwatchable. So that gives me a little more confidence in that I have improved, and that, you know, even now, like, I'm not at my peak. I haven't fully ascended. I'm sure I'll get better at things as time goes on. Probably not gonna get too much better at The Hobbit. I've definitely peaked in that regard. Dude, I feel a little left out, but, like, not in, like, a FOMO kind of way, in, like, a what are you guys doing kind of way. Why the fuck is everybody who plays The Hobbit doing meme categories, dude? It's like, I don't know, Shocky and MK are so far ahead of everyone else that they're just like, it's not worth it. They're so fun. Are they, though? Are they? I've always found meme categories just like, I don't know, man. The only meme category I can get behind is the A button challenge for SM64, just because that has, like, a reason outside of the run for being interesting itself. No jump attacks is legit a good run, but I can't get behind it. Like, even if the run is fun to play, the fact that it is a self-imposed arbitrary restriction that you're putting on yourself, I'm like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's not speedrunning. Like, I'm playing the game fast because I like to play the game fast. Like, I mean, you know, technically you could say that I'm putting an arbitrary restriction on myself by not doing menu glitches, right? This isn't the fastest category, right? But I don't know, man. There is a certain point that I'm just like, the self-imposed forced restrictions just to make a new category feels weird to me. Like, the only reason I'm doing this is because I think the game is fun to go fast in, and, like, I want to do the cool stuff. And I've talked about my mentality behind speedrunning before. I wouldn't feel the excitement if I knew that, like, you know, I had a sick-as-fuck run, but it's in a category with an arbitrary restriction. I'd just be like, why didn't I do this on, like, the real category? And, I mean, that's kind of my views behind meme categories. Like, the A button challenge in Mario is, for one, like, only tassable, which is interesting in its own right. I mean, you could probably, like, go into a fucking parallel universe without tassing, but you wouldn't be able to do anything productive with it. That would be, like, an interesting stream, though. Like, getting one of the A button challenge stars, the way they do it, could be fun, but... Wait, now that I think about it... No, okay. I'm like, how hard is it to actually get the speed required? I think the easiest one I can think of is the one in Hazy Maze Cave that you do the slide on forever, but I'm like, damn, that's really hard. And I think the parallel universe movements are also, like, incredibly precise and difficult, so maybe it's not feasible. Like, there are a few stars that you definitely could do, at least, like, the half A button presses. There are a handful that aren't that hard, but I don't know if it's feasible to do any of the parallel universe ones not tasked. Anyways, tangent. I just think that's cool because, like, I don't know. It is, like, majorly breaking the game in a way that developers never would have thought of. So that's cool in its own right. Just, like, taking away your jump attacks, I'm like, I don't know, man. That's not enough for me to be interested in it. Not saying that, like, you shouldn't run it if you have fun running it. Obviously, like, more than anything, it just feels good to PB, right? So, you know, if you get more PBs easier doing this other route, it makes sense why you would enjoy doing it, but... Arbitrary restrictions make for interesting runs, IMO. The only case that I'll slightly defend as far as arbitrary restrictions goes are cases where the split between the category was as a result of the run, like a new trick being discovered, basically, changing the run drastically in a way that maybe even the majority of the community is not a fan of. I think that happened with Super Meat Boy, like a while ago, if I'm not incorrect. But maybe, I don't really know how that story went down. But I know there was one trick discovered in Super Meat Boy that skipped, like, all of the game, and a lot of people didn't really like it. So that's a situation, like NMG, right? Like, no menu glitches / no major glitches, whatever you want to use the acronym for. Like, that is just not fun. So it makes sense why hardly any people run that. You know, same could be said with, why Ocarina of Time has it split from, like, the one that warps straight to credits to the one that at least makes you fight Ganon, right? Or a number of other categories in OOT. Or SM64, right? Like, SM64's category list just has, like, an evolution of different tricks being discovered. 70 Star exists as, like, the original, we didn't know BLJs were a thing. And then BLJs were discovered, so introduced 16 Star. And then LBLJ and SBLJ brought in 1 star and 0 star. So, I understand why categories like that exist, but I don't know, man. Just, like, putting a challenge, like, I mean, it is, like, a challenge. Yeah, you don't have to call it a challenge, you don't have to call it a meme category, but, like, there's nothing that really adds to the run by saying I'm not going to do jump attacks. It just makes you do things differently, which is the most arbitrary I think things can be in a speedrun category. Low percent is a pretty arbitrary restriction, and it resulted one of the best runs in speedrunning. I don't know which low percent you're talking about, but I believe it, I guess. And that is arbitrary! You're not wrong! Like, I think low percent is incredibly arbitrary. Twilight Princess? Don't know anything about it. But, yeah. I would say that low percent is arbitrary, which is why I would never run low percent. I think that that's, you know, just as valid with everything I said prior. Same beliefs are held for low percent. It's just that, I don't know. It takes the fun out of it for me. And, like, you know, these are just, like, my opinions, man. Clearly they're not even, like, the popular opinion, right? Like, that obviously not when a lot of people are getting into the fucking meme categories. What are Crix and sorry, I forget the other person. It starts with a K, I think. What are they searching for? Is, like, something chests? Like, new meme categories are being made on, like, a near daily basis here. All chests? Yeah. So arbitrary. What about 100%? I mean, look, this is where my argument breaks down, because, like, yeah, 100% is also pretty arbitrary, but, I don't know. For me, I think that it's less arbitrary than low percent, which is less arbitrary than just taking one of your moves in the game away. You don't think my opinion is actually that unpopular? Well, that's good. Hashtag based. I'm based. He's based. I mean, I don't know. I don't mean to come at it from a perspective of, like, you shouldn't do these runs, right? It's like, who fucking cares, right? Whatever you're having fun doing, do it. But for me, I would never find an interest in those runs. It's just, I don't know. And, like, I don't do 100% for my own reasons. I don't do 100% in most games because, like, in general, 100% is going to be really long. There are some cases where 100% is not too much longer than any percent, but, like, for a time, that was, Majora's Mask was not too different. I was blown away when Moose said that, like, early 2000s Majora's Mask speedrun was, like, 40 minutes. That doesn't seem right to me. Maybe I'm forgetting. Category extensions in general get a lot less runs than the mains, so it seems like a lot of people agree with you. I don't know. I don't think that that's a fair assessment. I think that, like, I don't know. I think that it's unfair to use that as an example because, like, whatever category is most popular is just always going to be what's most run. And in some cases, that can be a more memey category, or at least, like, a less standard category. Like, I don't know about the example for Twilight Princess, but obviously it has some repute associated with it, so, you know, who knows? But I don't think it's fair to say that most people agree with me just because not many people run it. I think that, like, not many people do speedruns in general. Like, on the broad scope of things, speedrunning is fairly niche. Like, a lot of people watch speedrunning, but how many people actually speedrun for themselves? It's a substantially smaller group, and so from that smaller group, how many people are going to choose to do the run that just has less runners in it? You know, maybe that's not fair to use as criticism or as an example, but, like, I don't think that it's just as a result of people agreeing with the sentiment that meme categories are, like, non-valid or non-fun. I just think it's people are always going to gravitate towards the most popular thing. It does happen to be that the most popular thing is just, like, any percent or 100%. But I think that's just because, like, I think that is, maybe there is something to it. Because especially from, like, a watchability perspective, like, it is way easier to understand why somebody is running something for any percent or 100%. Any percent, they just want to do it quickly. 100%, they want to do it quickly and get everything, right? Like, those are very obvious and immediate understandings and rationale for why somebody is running it. Whereas, like, if anybody just randomly popped into my stream and I was doing no jump attacks, I feel like I need a command in chat to automatically explain why I'm doing this. Because it is not immediately clear. I can just say, like, because it's fun, you know, because I enjoy doing it. But I do think that there is, like, an extra level of nicheness to it that people are going to question. Yeah. But I do think that it's just a popularity, you know, competition over anything else. But maybe I'm just wrong, dude. Maybe I'm not based. Maybe this is the end of my Twitch career. Hashtag not based. Ever since you mentioned that shit about hashtag Hitler blackface, that we just really haven't known what to think about you, Will. You've really let yourself go. It's all stemmed from the Sam Hyde discussion, man. I'm so problematic. You know, I don't even know if I ever mentioned that I watched Ian's cut of it, because Ian did release his version of the documentary with Sam Hyde. And, you know, I don't know, maybe the Sam Hyde perspective gives more, you know, a more thorough viewpoint of the situation. Still haven't watched it, probably never will. Because I feel like I got enough of an explanation from Ian's perspective, but yeah, it just seemed like Sam Hyde went into it wanting to make some funny content with who he thought was collaborating with, and then got the inclination that this was not as chummy of a collaboration as he thought it was, so he kind of just went silent and cut communications, more or less. But I don't know, man. It's like I just wish the interview was more thorough, because, like, every single interview Sam Hyde has done, he is either not really taken it seriously, because I guess he stated that he didn't like the people he was being interviewed by, or not answering the questions satisfyingly in my eyes. I do think that the guy is, like, definitely super racist, and definitely, I mean, it probably coincides with racism. I probably don't need to say it, but definitely white supremacist. You know, who knows about his real thoughts on Jews? Like, do we really need to say he's anti-Semitic or a Nazi on top of being extremely racist? Like, I feel like he's already shitty enough that you get more or less a full picture off of just those things. He said that he doesn't, you know, he doesn't try and bring politics into his comedy multiple times, but, like, from the bits I've seen of $1 Million Extremes World Peace, which I have now seen a few clips from, I'm like, that doesn't hold up. That doesn't hold up. If you brought that to a court of law and had a judge pick apart exactly, or maybe not judge is the right, sorry, if you had an attorney, if you had a prosecuting attorney pick that apart, I don't think it would hold up in court that he doesn't put politics in his comedy. But whatever, he can fucking, you know, push everything away under the broad umbrella as it was just satire, dude. I made the joke that satire is just saying what you actually want to say, but no one can criticize you because it's a joke. It's a joke, dude. You can't cancel me. It was funny. When a lot of things Sam Hyde has done are not funny, which is like, I mean, that's the worst of it. Like, if you're gonna be, if you have to be racist, at least be funny about it, dude. Come on. Common decency over here. So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the Sam Hyde, it just felt, like, sad more than anything. He was just, like, I don't know. It felt like he was kind of a whiny baby about the thing. Like, the way it was, you know, brought up, maybe Ian went a little too hard in the joke, but, like, it was very clear, especially, I don't know, maybe it wasn't clear in person, but, like, in the way it was framed in the editing and the way that Ian's video came out, it was super obvious. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, this is awesome, dude. I'm gonna send this one to PB territory. That's the best movement I've ever done. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. No criticism on that section, please. Yeah, I don't know. The way it was shown in Ian's side of things, at least, it was super obvious that Ian wasn't seriously just doing this as, like, a hit piece. But, Sam Hyde just kept going back to it and being like, aw, man, he doesn't like me? What the hell? And I do think that Ian probably does have some criticisms about things that he's done. But, you know, he was trying to be unbiased during the interview, it seemed, and just wanted to get, like, more complete answers than Sam Hyde has given out before on the situation. So it's a shame that he couldn't really get any answers out after the big reveal, which, I mean, I don't know. Like, how do you even take that seriously? Like, I feel like it was more of a deflection. Like, I feel like Sam Hyde must have known that it wasn't serious, but just didn't want to answer questions at that point, so he deflected and made it seem like he was super hurt and offended, which I don't think was the case. I think he just wanted to not make a documentary at that point, which is whatever. Dude, I constantly am sucking ass at riddles. Which is not surprising, because I do no practice at this game. But, like, really, failing at the fucking easy stuff is annoying. There you go. Okay, or not. When you don't get this instantly, it actually feels fucking awful. Because I don't know. The way I come into this room, I have my camera facing a certain way that I'm used to, you know, knowing where to position myself on that, and if that angle gets fucked up, I just have no idea what I'm doing. I'm lost in the sauce. You know, I'm gonna fucking save here. Let's get a run that's decent, hopefully. So if I fuck this up, it's not gonna be too much of a disaster. I mean, I'm probably still going to completely suck ass at barrels, but that's a given. We come to expect that in this household. That's my average. Alright, going good so far. I'm not gonna need to use that save in all likelihood, so that's nice. I can't imagine fucking it up past this point. I was a little bit slow, but I can just do a quick little slash and I'm set. Alright. Isn't Sam Hyde just that weird as fuck dude who gets accused of school shootings every time it happens? That's part of it, for sure. but he revels in it to some degree. I mean, he's definitely more than just that, but he's associated with the kinds of groups that do that thing to him. I mean, like, how much can you blame him for that? Because it's not like he's actively going out to spread misinformation on who the school shooter is. That's usually the people who are fans of his and watch his. But at the same time, you can certainly draw, and I don't think this is always the case, but I think in Sam Hyde's case, it is the case where, you know, it's fair in most cases to pull apart your fans from your own content. Like, you know, XQC, for example, like, or honestly, any, like, major streamer with, like, a super toxic, annoying, obnoxious chat. Like, I don't think you can blame the streamer that much, because at a certain point, like, that's kind of the appeal to their stream, and if they tried to, like, police their chat more, it would certainly mess with the environment of the stream, and I don't think that they would be nearly as popular if they didn't let their chatters be complete shit. Like Moist, I don't know. I don't watch Critical, so I don't know how bad his chat is, but certainly, like, at a certain point when your viewership gets high enough, like, you can't control it that much. And, you know, you could maybe say that that's the case for someone like Sam Hyde, but I don't think so. I think that Sam Hyde kind of encourages it at times. He certainly doesn't admonish it when they do something like that most people would be like, you know, this is a genuine legal concern that could get me in trouble. He's just like, yeah, fuck it, this is free marketing, go for it. And beyond that, like, I think it makes sense why people with certain viewpoints gravitate towards his content. Good backup, clean backup there. This has been a pretty scuffed run through and through, but I can easily PB here. Easy PBs. All I have to do is not fuck up in barrels. But I don't know. I don't know about Critical's chat to speak on that specifically. I know that Northern Lion's chat is surprisingly, like, tame for large viewer streamers. But even that, like, you know, I think the only reason it's as tame as it is because, like, whenever somebody, like, acts out of line in his chat, he goes the fuck off on them. Like, he's good at tearing someone apart in his own chat, and you might say that, oh, that's toxic, dude. You can't let the streamer get the upper hand, that's punching down. But, I mean, I don't know, man. If someone's being a complete asshole to you, I mean, you're a fucking stranger, right? Like, you're just making content freely out into the air, and someone's gonna be a shit disturber. I don't see any problem with disturbing their shit afterwards. So maybe that has something to do with it. I think it used to be worse, for sure. Like, Ryan's chat definitely went through waves where, it wasn't the most appealing place to look at. This is sad, by the way. Can we get a shout out to my boy Bilbo, who's crying right now because he can't fucking do barrels for the 100th time in a row? It's unwatchable. I mean, I don't know, man. I also don't really care about chat that much. I understand that that's, like, a bit of the vibe if you're watching something live, but I just don't pay any attention to chat. And like I said, I usually watch VODs anyways, so it's not like I can actively join in on it. Poor Bilbo, man. He really wanted this PB. The slope boost, like, I shouldn't be fucking up the slope boost. There you go. I was way too far to the right, I think. Which is something that I will never be accused of this point going forward. Title screen song. Top 10 scariest moments in RuneScape. Title screen jump scare. One day I'll figure out why barrels doesn't work for me. I'm trying slightly different angles every time. I don't even think the angles matter that much, though. I think it mainly matters how far out on the platform you are, and I think it mainly matters when you press forward after jumping. How far back am I? 30 seconds? I guess this could PB. It's very sloppy, and I'm not super confident in my Cloud's Burst. Oh, that's awesome, dude. This movement is great. Whose setup are you using? A combination of M. Karma's and Crix's. Somewhere in between those two. I don't know. I should just maybe spend some time practicing it, but like I said earlier, I can't be fucked to care too much about my Hobbit runs. Like, I do this as a backdrop because I think it's a fun game to play. And it's super easy to banter over, because I don't need to pay attention to the game at all for the most part. And that works well for me. I'm schmoovin'. Have I tried Shocksters? No, I have not. Is that the one where you look, like, kind of parallel to the ledge? Because if so, that's the one that Hark sent me a while back to try and practice. I've been told that that's better. No, that's MK's new one? I have no idea then. I'll maybe experiment with it. Because if I could nail that more consistently, I'd get a PB every day, dude. I'd be non-stop PBing. Non-stop, guaranteed. Any moment now. Any moment now. MK's new setup's pretty good too. Well, maybe I'll learn both. Maybe I'll fuck around and get crazy. Learn 2 new setups that I never use. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bilbo, it's fun to play, but like, I can only care so much about my actual run for a number of reasons. I mean, for one, I don't really care about speedrunning competitively at all to begin with. And beyond that, it's just more fun to play the game than it is to practice. So, like, if I ever... And I would never stream practicing. I shouldn't say never, because, like, maybe one day I'll completely change my attitude towards it. But, like, that's not fun. That's not fun to watch. That's not fun to do. I think it was funny as a meme when I was, like, doing my casual first playthrough of the game, and I tried to do barrels in my first playthrough. Like, that was kind of funny, just because I ruined my casual playthrough. Like, I like that for a different aspect. And that took, like, an hour and a half to do or something, but it was worth it. I had fun doing it. Just, like, practicing something that I've already learned and should know how to do reliably. Gross. Couldn't be me. It would get too much in the way of me talking about random bullshit no one cares about. Nice! With the backslash, Bilbo! With the backslash, he got that spider out of his way. That was so close to me dying. I think my RuneScape playlist is out. It's out of juice. Well, it's a good thing it's right near the end of the run. 27? I could maybe. I don't know. I think my PB's Cloud's Burst was pretty cracked. I think my PB's Cloud's Burst had, like, nothing wrong with it. Or at least not 27 seconds worth wrong with it. Like, I might be able to pull back 10 seconds if I do things, like, absolutely perfectly from this point. Not a good start. Oh, wait. Aren't I supposed to go? Dude, I'm not going to do the backup. I have no idea where you're supposed to do the backup. I would probably just fuck it up repeatedly. I know there is a backup. Fuck, dude. My slash jumps are so bad. My slash jumps are what fuck me here. Which is sad, because, like, that's the easy part of the jump. You would hope it's the easy part, at least. Otherwise, goddamn. That would explain why I'm so bad at barrels. I am, like, pretty bad at the barrel slope boost now. I have moments where I'm consistent. No, dude. But, that consistency is a farce. It falls apart pretty often. Moment of silence for Bilbo's lost run on barrels again. Moment of silence, everybody. I have to make the lack of music entertaining in some way. It can't be by actually making good commentary. Cringe, dude. Cringe. Why does it always feel like it's completely fine until I start streaming, and then it's like 100 degrees in this household? I'm too far to the left. Never mind. Never missing while walking. Ooh. I was definitely a little bit too far to the left, though. I need to refresh myself on whatever the fuck. You know what I'm actually gonna do after this? Because I'm sweating profusely. I need to fucking turn on my fan. It is so goddamn hot in this room. And maybe check if the heater is on, because the heater does not need to be on. I'm pretty sure it's like 80 degrees outside in Texas right now. This is not heater weather. I had to turn it up over the weekend because it did drop to like 40 for a day, and it was like 60 degrees in the house. But if the heater is still on, I need to cut that shit out. This is miserable. PC hot? Always. Not to a problematic degree, but yeah. I mean, it always heats my room up to a... Ooh, that's awesome. It always heats up my room to a degree, but what the fuck do you even do here? This is where you enter, and this... Am I just gonna do the ending of the game normally? Oh, this is so cool, dude. I don't even remember how. Wait a second. How do I do this? I'm dead. Okay. The run was dead anyways. I was like plus 30 by the time I was gonna end it. Let me see if the heater's on real quick, and I'll be back to do maybe switch to Bloodborne. I don't know. How long have I been streaming Hobbit? 2 hours? I might do like one more run because I feel like my runs have been fairly consistent, and I think I can PB. But let me think about that while I go change the thermostat real quick. Let me see if I missed any chat. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even blame people for not watching practice. It is boring. Although I don't know, for me, I mean, I would hope that anybody who enjoys watching my stream gets that, like, it doesn't really matter what game I'm playing. I'm going to be doing the same kind of commentary throughout, but I can't even try and, like, make practice interesting. All right, I'll be right back. Let me fix RuneScape music so you're not in complete silence, and we'll see if I want to do a run when I get back. Bye! Good song, good song. Alright. It was on cool, but my mom had set it to, like, she didn't change it. She just left it at the default, and our thermostat defaults to 80 degrees. So it was not doing a very good job of cooling. Alright, fuck it. I'll do like a couple more runs, although I'm probably going to switch pretty soon. Let me check my banter journal, see if I have anything cool to talk about. A cute little banter journal. I already talked about that. Oh, yeah! I mean, this is just like a tiny little joke. Relating to... I mean, obviously it's shitty. I'm not going to try and, like, phrase it in a good light in any way. It's obviously really shitty of Nintendo to basically make it so that, like, hundreds and hundreds of games are completely unplayable. Not even, like, unplayable, or sorry, not even unpurchasable, but unplayable. Like, for a lot of indie games on, like, the Wii U eShop, or what was the other one they canceled? 3DS or something? Whatever eShops they canceled, there's a handful of indie games there that only existed on those eShops, And I doubt there's any way you could even, like, pirate the games if you wanted to play them. Like, for example, and this is where I kind of, like, ooh, I get my comeuppance a little bit. I get my comeuppance. So, when I released Chroma Blast on Steam, I had somebody get real aggressive in my DMs. And at the time, I was still accepting, like, random Steam friend invites. So I was just curious why someone was friending me out of the blue, accepted it, and, you know, wanted to hear them out and you know, figure out if it was a bot or whatever the fuck was going on. Who knows? But, oh, fuck, I didn't restart my game. Whoops. Let me do that before it's too late. I'm glad I remembered, because I'm pretty bad about that. Yeah, so I accepted the friend request. I now, by the way, have friend request muted or, like, auto-declined, whatever fucking Steam does when you set it to that option. So, if I don't know you, you're not going to be able to friend me on Steam. Sorry. Don't mean to be a little toxic streamer. I mean, it's more toxic, honestly, if you give the notion that you will be friends with everyone who enters your chat room. That's kind of cringe, dude. Parasocial. Anyways, yeah, so I accepted the friend request and asked them what was up. And they were real hot right out the gate. They were like, so I have a game released on the Wii U eShop, also named Chroma Blast. Is this gonna be a problem? ... And I was like, what do you mean, is this gonna be a problem? And they were like, do I need to get my lawyers involved? And I was like, well, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was probably something along the lines of, no, when was your game released? And then they shut down a little bit and went to go check and were like, my game released, and I don't remember the exact date, but it was like a few months before the release of my Steam release. And I was like, okay, well, not sure if you knew this, but my game was released like a year and a half ago on itch.io. Do I need to get my lawyers involved? Because clearly my game had come out before theirs at that point. So I'm glad I get some comeuppance on random fucking lawyer guy who tried to take down my game on Steam. Like, they had, like, no actual power in a courtroom. Like, there's no way you can say, like, they didn't have a fucking copyright on the name or anything. It wasn't trademarked. They had no legal standing point, so I was never really threatened, but it is funny that, I mean, I imagine they're just young, maybe younger than I am, but I can't imagine they were that younger than I am if they released a game on the Wii U eShop. Like, they had to be in their 20s. And they're fucking threatening some other 20-year-old to take their game off Steam. I also, like, it was really funny, because, like, after I told them that my game actually came out before their game, they started sweating a little bit. They were like, oh my god, please don't do anything. Like, I don't have the source code for my game anymore, so I can't even change the name of my game if I wanted to. It was cute in a way that somebody threatening to sue you can be cute. It's certainly funny, at the very least. So there you go, get fucked. Get fucked, Chroma Blast on the Wii U eShop. There can only be one. I survived. Which is definitely punching down, but also funny, so I don't feel bad about it. What else have I done, though? I know I've done other things other than just... I started playing, Dyson Sphere program or project? I can never remember if it's program or project. I think it's program. I started playing Dyson Sphere again off stream. I mean, there's probably a number of reasons why I shouldn't have streamed the game in the first place. Like, Dyson Sphere program had to be, like, the least interesting content to watch that I've ever created. But, I was just in a headspace at that time. That was around the time when I was, like, trying to stream very, very regularly on, like, a near daily basis. where, like, if I wanted to play a game, I basically had to rationalize streaming it. Otherwise, like, I just wouldn't stream for that day, and I didn't want to go days without streaming, which is dumb. That's also why I streamed Path of Exile. And Path of Exile's gotta be, like, the least interesting fucking game to watch on Twitch. So, I definitely used to be more, like, if you're going to play a game, you should stream it, because it's free content. I no longer agree with that. I think there's something to be said about having standards for your own content, and, you know, if you think that something's going to be... Just ate my long jump. If you think that something's going to be, extremely unfun to watch, then just don't stream it, because, you know, I know myself, and I would be, you know, stressing about it if I felt like it wasn't interesting, and I was stressing about it when I played Dyson Sphere Program the first time. There were some funny moments in it, like, I'm not gonna say it was, like, devoid of entertaining content, like, you know, I still had some funny bits in there, but for the most part, like, the moment-to-moment gameplay is just not interesting to watch. So yeah, I'm doing it off stream now. Doing it off stream, which I think is a much better idea. Sorry it ate your long jump. No, it's fine. It's fine, dude. I get it. Game was hungry. Needed a little afternoon/evening snack. Happens all the time. But, Dyson Sphere Program still has the problems that I brought up when I was first playing it, which is unfortunate. Like, I think it's a good game. Like, it's a really well-made game, more than anything. Like, I can't believe it's in Unity, because it runs really well for what it is. I would not have expected Unity to be able to pull off that kind of game, but I also imagine that they're doing, like, a lot of back-end stuff that's not tied to Unity. Like, they probably don't use Unity's standard object handling system, if I had to guess, because I can't imagine that that would load at the speeds that it does, or perform as well as it does. Is Dyson Sphere a vacuuming game? Close. You certainly vacuum all that a planet has to offer in terms of resources, so to some degree, sure. You're just cleaning up the filth that a planet has until you've fully conquested and can move on to the next planet, which is a little bit of why I still have these issues with Dyson Sphere. The way that the research is, like, laid out and structured in Dyson Sphere really feels like, I don't know, it just feels clumsy, if anything. Like, I don't know what the game wants you to do at certain parts of it. Like, I'm basically at the same point in the game I was when I stopped streaming it, because I like, started over from scratch. And, it's the same problem. Like, I haven't unlocked interplanetary transport, so, like, I can't ship cargo from one planet to another. What the fuck happened there? That felt like a decent angle. He just died. UK in Space Simulator? Kind of. Kind of. It's just like Factorio is the best way to describe it, because I imagine most people know what Factorio is. It's Factorio, but on planets, and you can fly around in space, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the game, like, it always starts you on a planet that doesn't have all of the resources you need, which I think is probably a good idea, but what I really wish it would do is, at the very least, always start you in a system, like a solar system that has a planet that does have everything you need, meaning it has titanium and oil in the same planet. Maybe that's too much to ask for. Maybe the purest, diehard Dyson Sphere Program fans out there will tell me why that's not a good idea. But to me, there's this really awkward stage in the game where you need 3 different kinds of research materials. One of them requires oil, one of them requires titanium, and you can't access a planet that has both of those things, so I just don't know what you're expected to do to research, you know, the interplanetary transport. And what I'm doing is just, like, manually crafting the hundreds of yellow research that I need. Maybe that's what the game wants. But that feels really awkward if that's what it wants. In a game all about automation, no idea what Factorio is. What the hell, dude? I mean, you did say you don't play games, so I guess it makes sense. But, in a game that's all about automation, it feels very weird for the game to force you to, like, manually craft hundreds of these research objects to get to the point where you can go back to automating. It just feels very, I don't know. It feels like, it seems like something that would have been done on accident and was like an unintentional design flaw they didn't think about when making the research, but they've kept it in for like a really long time. So I guess it's intentional. I don't know. Certainly feels weird though. And like, the third research, like, I made it out to seem like one research requires oil and one research requires titanium. Sorry, that was a misnomer. The third research requires titanium and oil, which, as I just said, at least maybe I'm just unlucky and it's not guaranteed that you get a planet that has titanium and oil, but it seems like it's guaranteed that you won't get those two things. It seems like they want you to do, you know, some planetary travel to get titanium. But also, I don't know, because, like, I remember one of the blurbs, like one of the tutorial blurbs that they'll spout at you every now and then, said something about, like, you can mine rocks to get titanium on your planet if you need some, or you can go to another planet to get a large quantity. But the fact that it even talks about you having a chance to get it when you break open random rocks is like, is that really what you want? Is for me to, like, spend hours harvesting rocks on my starter planet to get, like, thousands of titanium so I can progress in the game? Like, this isn't fucking RuneScape. I know we're listening to RuneScape music here, so you might get confused. But this is not a RuneScape podcast or anything. I do not like grind in most games. And that probably does seem controversial from someone who also plays Path of Exile and talked about playing Cr1TiKaL Ultimate, but in general, I really am pretty averse to grinding in games. Oh, and I have also played RuneScape and played RuneScape Leagues, but I defend RuneScape. That was so lucky with the timing of the cutscene. I should be dead right now. RuneScape Leagues are only fun because they take out a large amount of the grinding in RuneScape. Ooh, I just fucking reset my camera with right mouse button. I need to unbind right mouse button, whatever the fuck it is. I forget what it actually is supposed to be, but I need to get rid of it. Anyways, yeah, fuck it. That's all I really have to talk about it. It just feels like, the designers are split. Like, maybe there's more than one person, like, leading the design. It feels like one person wants it to be solely, like, automation focused, and one person's like, I don't know, you should do a little mining rocks just for fun. It just seems out of place to me. But maybe I'm missing something. I fully admit that, like, I could be missing something. Like, I could just be completely unaware of a mechanic that, like, skips over this grind that I'm talking about. I don't know. SSF is pretty grindy. That's great because, what the fuck? What the fuck? I talked to a different dwarf! Okay, I need to fix my angle a little bit. That's crazy, because, like, I only play SSF. SSF / like, group find, or whatever you call it. I've talked about it before, but whenever I'm playing with my girlfriend, the only thing that, like, I want to buy is if, like, I happen to build either one of us something that relies heavily on a unique. Because, like, there are some fairly build-defining uniques out there, and they're interesting builds. So if I ever am in the mood to do one of those, I'll buy the unique. But as far as just, like, buying equipment that's objectively better than what we found, I am not a huge fan of that. I have bought, like, scarabs and stuff in the past, but that honestly feels grindier to me. Like, the micromanaging you have to do to, like, play the kind of content you want in the past has been really bad. And I never really liked scarabs as a solution to that because it's so trade-focused. And if you're not on a trade league, scarabs, like, they're nice, you know? If you get a scarab that you want, but 99% of scarabs you get are going to be for content that you don't care about anyways. I know, I'm talking about solo self-found. I mean, I'm talking about, you know, my standards on solo self-found at least. Oh, yeah, Hamglow asked, I see. Sorry. I'm not very attentive to chat. PoE people are built different. Not well, but different. Yeah. Path of Exile, I don't know, I've got, like, plenty of complaints about Path of Exile, like I do with Cr1 Ultimate. I love Path of Exile, but, like, there are plenty of things that bother me about it. I don't think it's too interesting to, like, a general audience, because it is a fairly niche game, but if I talked for, you know... If I talked for, I'm playing, Bloodborne, by the way. I'm done with Hobbit. Not forever, but I'm done with Hobbit for today.